Calling his final game for the UT Radio Network, it is John Ward. He's been with them since 1968, a law degree, an accidental career in radio, but he is really a treasure down in the state of Tennessee.
They need to go to Henry. This will be Martin. This will be Henry. He dives. Give him 6. That's all. Touchdown, Tennessee!
John Ward means more to Tennessee football than any player who's ever played here. John Ward has been the eyes of us when all we could use was our ears.
It's football time in Tennessee.
And it's almost football time in Tempe to steal Mr. Ward's line. Well done. Of course, in the ABC TV booth, Keith Jackson concludes his brilliant career. Typically, Keith does not want a big fuss, but Vice President Al Gore couldn't resist. He's going to drop by to say hello. Keith has been more than just the soundtrack for so many of college football's great moments. He's really been a guardian of the game's integrity. It was a treat to talk football with Keith recently as he reminisced in his backyard. And now, memories from brilliant college football career. Tonight's cover story.
1942. That's not my party. That stage belongs to those kids and those coaches. Got a damn thing to do with me. And that's the way I've done my job, and that's the way I'm going to go out. I had more fun than anybody. I'll guarantee you. I'm not sure I'm through either.
That's a little hit there at the end, kind of a teaser. I tell you what, it's fitting that Keith Jackson will tell you his favorite college football game was 1956, ironically involving Tennessee against Georgia Tech. Bobby Dodd and General Neal in a defensive duel, punts, quick kicks, 6-0 Tennessee was the final.
Good old-fashioned good defensive battle. Could see that again tonight. One of the things that I can remember growing up as a college football fan, just hearing Keith Jackson's voice, you knew it was a football Saturday, and this was the premier game. Now that I'm in the business, the thing that I respect and admire most about Keith Jackson is as big an icon as he has become in his sport. You just heard him say it. He still recognizes the players and the coaches. This is their center stage. Not only is he a great broadcaster, what a class act.
Kirk, can you imagine to be 70 years old, have done what you love for 47 years, leave and have not one person say a mean thing about you? Boy, life has been good for Keith Jackson, my
count
friend.
that many people on one hand.
You know why I want this to be a great game, and there haven't been many. In the recent Fiesta Bowls, only one close game in the last 10, because I want Keith to go out on a nice, close game where he can make another classic call in the last couple of minutes. Folks who don't have tickets are looking for an aerial view. Any glimpse they can get of Sun Devil Stadium, you can get a real close view on ABC Sports tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. ABC's first ever enhanced TV production on ESPN.com. A lot more coming up. Now back to Bob in the studio.
Thanks, Chris. We'll be back to you in a little bit. Coming up, the
last classic 1-versus-2 bowl national championship game was when Florida State's Scott Bentley kicked a field goal to beat Nebraska, and the Cornhusker kicker missed on the final play of the game. We could have that kind of situation tonight with the defenses this good and the matchup this close. What about these two kickers? Well, on one side, you got a choir boy who has faced the music and always come through. On the other side, a big, strong, powerful kicker from Polish descent. Steve Cyphers and the two guys who could have a huge foot in deciding this game.
One drew a picture of his dream as a 9-year-old in a Tennessee grade school.
I was sleeping, and I was dreaming about kicking for the University of Tennessee. And the picture actually is me lying in a bed with a bubble, kind of like what you see in a cartoon, with me kicking a football through the uprights with an orange jersey on.
The other had no such dreams at his grade school in Poland.
The first time I started kicking football, I was my senior year in high school. The first time I saw football was probably in '94.
The right-footed kicker they call
a choir boy. Jeff Hall's a choir boy, man.
If you had somebody that you'd like for your daughter to marry, it'd be Jeff Hall.
They call the left-footed one the Polish powder keg.
What's it sound like?
It's a boom.
Boom.
Our guy is a big, powerful Polish immigrant that can kick the heck out of the ball.
Boom. One celebrated his team's biggest win in solitude.
After the Florida game, I went home and ate a bowl of Wheaties and went to bed.
The other beat the Gators, broke out a stogie on the field, and later got into a fight with a male cheerleader at a local bar. No charges were filed, but he was punished.
I'm running. You can trust me, I'm running. I'll make a mistake, you know. Everybody can make mistakes, but we got to pay for it. So that's what I think that we got to do. We got to run.
One is 6 feet 180. The other is 6'2", 255. Both would do much more than kick. If only they could.
I'm a closet linebacker. I love the physical aspect of the game. I love the hitting. I love the violence of it. Believe me, if I was as big and as strong as some of those other guys, I wouldn't be a kicker. I'd play a respectable position.
I like contact football. I mean, I wish I could play some other positions, but that takes time to learn. But for now, I'm sticking with kicking.
Is he different from most kickers?
Yes, he's cool. Classy type guy. He's a nice dresser. He's not this just dope, this nerd walking around. But Jeff Hall, he's into things and he knows what's going on, and he's into the 90s.
He's a religious guy, He's a leader. He's a person that kind of stays to himself a little bit.
Sebastian will hang out with you if you let him. He'll hang out with anybody that'll hang out with him.
Would I let him?
Would you let him?
Would I?
Yes, you would. You would let him.
Janikowski, a sophomore, is the All-American, the ACC record holder for field goals in a season with 27. He was 10 of 13 from 40 yards or more, and 60% of his kickoffs were not returned. Quarterback Marcus Outson is his holder.
I've never thought I'd say this about a kicker, but it's a privilege. Everybody knows how good he is around here, but he's really taken for granted and how good he really is.
Hall, the Tennessee kicker for 4 years, is the SEC's all-time leading scorer. Along with that overtime kick against Florida, he hit the last-second winner against Syracuse. Teammates have so much respect for him that he was elected co-captain.
Whenever he's on the field, we are in good hands.
Jeff is a guy that I think a lot of guys on this team can go to and talk to if they're having any problems or anything like that. Jeff is he's a very spiritual person.
Could you see yourself being captain material?
Someday, I think so. You gotta have leadership, and I think I can have that one of those things.
Is he captain material?
I think down the line, as you get a little older, I think he's too wild right now to be a captain.
He's just a little different, but on the field, he's as good as leaders you're going to find.
Jeff Hall and Sebastian Janikowski, as different as their names, as far apart as their accents. Yet given the nature of this national championship, as important to their teams as any player on the field. In Tempe, Steve Cyphers, ESPN.
You don't want either guy to fail when you see that. These guys know the hazards of the job. They have maybe one chance, maybe 1 square inch of their foot makes contact with the football.
This is an opportunity they dream about. Growing up as a kicker, you hope to get into a big-time game when the game is on the line. You think it's Sebastian Janikowski. He has the big leg, career long of 56 yards. On the other side, Tennessee will counter with Jeff Hall. He does have the leg strength. Career long, 53 yards. He's a 4-year starter, as Steve just mentioned. He is the SEC's all-time leading scorer. And the thing to remember about Jeff Hall is twice this year, late in the game with the game on the line, he came through with 2 game-winning field goals.
Kurt, Sebastian Janikowski set an all-time ACC record of 27 field goals this year. He's got a strong leg. Every time the nose crossed midfield, this guy is a threat to score. Now, there's been a lot of talk about this week. He has not kicked a pressure field goal to win the game. Wrong. When he was in Florida High School, Daytona Seabridge, he beat Palatka with a 60-yard field goal in the last minute. So he's done it.
Yeah.
And also, big advantage, when he kicks the ball in the end zone, the nose stop the opponent on the other 20. Whoa.
I got news for you. This ain't high school. It's going to be more like a Tennessee home game.
It's in Palatka.
Keith Cottrell of FSU, David Leverton of Tennessee. Those are the 2 punters. Those guys could also have a big role. Please join us. Bottom of the hour, a full half hour of college game night following SportsCenter.
Bowl Update is brought to you by Chrysler, engineered to be great cars.
It is a Western setting for a national championship game with a distinctly Southern flavor. The Big Orange Nation has invaded the chorus of Rocky Top, competing with the Seminole War chant of the Garnet and Gold faithful. It's #1 Tennessee, #2 Florida State. Each have kept the faith to arrive here on college football's biggest stage. Is young Marcus Outson ready as the greenest quarterback ever in a game this big? Or will the Tennessee perseverance, symbolized by Peerless Price, prevail one more time? The Tostitos Fiesta Bowl, all the chips on the line tonight in Tempe, Arizona. Welcome inside Sun Devil Stadium on another picture-perfect evening. Temperatures in the 50s. Should be a great night for college football. The 12th 1 versus 2 game for all the marbles at the end of the season. There's a lot more. Garnet, they're outnumbered by the orange folks here tonight. Tennessee, it's like a home game almost. Chris Fowler, Lee Corso, and Kirk Herbstreit. Only 30 minutes more talking before 60 minutes of fighting for ultimate prize in college football. Technically, it's the first title game in the new Bowl Championship Series. Both the Volunteers and Seminoles brought here by the BCS computer. But both teams would tell you that a higher power had a big hand in this. Certainly good fortune mixed with grit and resilience and toughness. You like your football tough and close, where each yard matters, each first down is a cause for celebration. Might have that kind of a game tonight. Tennessee, its best season ever, 12-0, going for its first national title since 1951. FSU, the third title shot in the last 6 seasons. They are 1-1. They've been the more business-like team this week. Tennessee's been a little bit looser. Florida State, the favorite here. They have not been, however, #1 all season long. Reports now on both teams, starting with Tony Barnhart on the Volunteers. Tony?
Chris, you know, no football program in America has more tradition than the University of Tennessee. But when Philip Fulmer took over in 1992, he promised to take it to the national championship level. Well, the culmination of all that work takes place in tonight's Fiesta Bowl. For more than a generation, Tennessee's football fans have only wanted one thing, and that's to have their program in the 4 or 5 elite ones that play each year for the national championship. Well, they're getting close. Only 3 schools, Florida State, Nebraska, and Florida, have won more games in the 90s than the University of Tennessee. So there's more at stake tonight than just Tennessee's first national championship since 1951. Tonight, if Tennessee can win, they'll prove once and for all that they belong with the big boys of college football. And now with an update on Florida State, here's Steve Cyphers.
Tony, a big motivating factor for Florida State is trying to finish in the top 4 for a 12th consecutive season. And of course, there is the national championship. If they win tonight, then Bobby Bowden will get his 2nd championship ring. And he says he'll appreciate this one, enjoy it more than the one he won in '93, when he says then the pressure was so much that when he finally got it, it only brought relief. But if he is to get this national title, he'll have to do it with a redshirt sophomore quarterback named Marcus Outson. He's making just his 3rd start. And Chris, no one knows how he'll respond to this assignment.
Maybe even including Marcus Outson himself. We talked about it. The Seminole players, they lost their only national title shot. Tennessee says they've learned a lot from losing to Nebraska last year.
Well, this has been going on for a month. Both these teams knew about this football game. It is finally here. This is an attitude game. I think the thing to remember, both teams feel that this is their destiny. When breaks go against one of them early, whichever team can maintain the momentum, Mighty Mo will win this football game because, hey, both these teams are confident. Whoever expects to win throughout the game wins this game.
Kirk, when these teams walk on the field tonight, I think Florida State will expect to win it. I think Tennessee hopes to win it, and there's a big difference in the mind. The reason why Florida State has an advantage is Bobby Bowden. Bobby knows what to say, how to say it, and when to say it to get his football team ready in big ball games like that. And I think that's a tremendous advantage for Florida State tonight.
Well, Bowden is 14-1-1 in his last 16 bowl games with Fulmer. He's the Eddie Robinson Coach of the Year. He's also done a brilliant job. Looking at the bowl breakdown, this might be a little bit of an alarming fact if you are a Tennessee fan. You exclude the Orange Bowl Tennessee victims, Syracuse and the Gators. The other 5 teams they played in bowl games were 1-4. And you look at the column, points Tennessee scored versus the points that opponent gave up in the bowl game in almost each case. In every case except Kentucky, the other team scored more than Tennessee did. That might be an alarming fact for the Tennessee offense. It might mean absolutely nothing. We'll find out at the end of the evening. We'll talk more about both quarterbacks. We'll break things down as we continue here the countdown. Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. Will it be a 2nd national title for Bobby Bowden or the 1st for Philip Fulmer? Welcome back to the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl build-up. He swears he's never nervous in a football game. Hard to believe T. Martin on that one with so much at stake, with his role so critical tonight. The Tennessee quarterback has a poise and strength that was forged in childhood when he endured numerous tragedies to dear friends. He received guidance from his mother. He made the correct decisions, and here he is now in his first season as a starter. You might think that replacing Peyton Manning, the most popular athlete in Tennessee history, might be daunting, but as Tony Barnhart found, nothing seems to faze Mr. Martin.
It was easy for me to come in personally and make that transition being the guy to follow behind him. But in the outside world, people who don't really know the situation, know what's going on inside the Tennessee family, won't understand how easy the transition really was. The kind of guys we had on the team really made it good for me. They didn't use our name in the same sentence at all throughout the season, and that helped me out a whole lot because everybody let me be myself.
Martin's first start against Syracuse on the road.
It was like a kid, like the day before Christmas. You kind of know what you have, but you just want to see it and make sure that your parents didn't tell you a story about it. Before the game, my emotions jumped. They swayed. You know, I listened to so many different kind of music CDs. I was gospel to rap to R&B, and I was just switching. My emotions were different.
Martin made sure his first impressions were lasting ones. Down by 3 in the fourth quarter, Martin took off.
Just had a pass call and dropped back, and they covered it really well, and I saw a little lane for me to run. I didn't think it was going to be that big.
That 55-yard run set up Tennessee's go-ahead touchdown.
Without any question, a guy that stood and stepped out of the shadows of Peyton Manning.
I felt so hungry and so anxious to get back to practice because we won, and I really didn't feel like I played a good game. And I was like, if I correct those mistakes, there's no limit to what kind of football team we can have this season. And I kind of felt like I was the slow train on the track. You know, that everybody was waiting on me to do my thing and catch up with them.
With arch rival Florida next, Martin hoped to do what Manning never did, beat the Gators. And once again, Martin ran out of trouble.
When I dropped back, the rush was so fast, and those guys had revved up, for that last play, and they were coming. So I dropped back, kind of feeling the rush, trying to step in the pocket to look for Peters or somebody like that, but they didn't come open. So I just made the best out of it.
Another scramble led to another win, but Martin's passing numbers weren't impressive. Through his first 4 games, Martin had the lowest passing percentage at Tennessee in 27 years.
I didn't get frustrated, I didn't get down, I didn't lose confidence or anything like that, but I was just fighting with myself, wanted to hurry up and get there. When it's going to be my breakout game.
The breakout came the following week. With the Vol star running back Jamal Lewis out for the season, it was Martin's turn to impress his team and his head coach.
After Jamal Lewis had went down, it was an idea where we had to go to somebody. He said Jamal Lewis is his best player, he's going to go to his next best player. And I felt good by him saying that guy was me.
By the South Carolina game, Martin, tired of hearing criticism about his passing numbers, entered the game mad.
I was hearing a lot about I couldn't be accurate and my completion percentage and stuff like that, but I just wanted to come out and prove that if everything works the right way, that we can be accurate and complete many balls.
All time, not Tennessee, not Southeastern Conference. All time,
Tennessee returned to the SEC championship game where the Vols trailed late in the fourth quarter. This time, the running QB showed everyone he could throw with the game on the line.
I knew I was going to get pressure, and I told Peters in the huddle before I even called the play that I was going to throw it early and then make a play on the ball because I might not even see it, and that's exactly what happened. That's my first championship I ever won in my life. I didn't expect to do what happened this year because everything happened in its own ways, but I had dreams of coming in and doing it. I never, went play by play, game by game, how I expected it to be because, God controls that. But in the end of the season, I wanted to be in the national championship game, and that happened for me.
I saw T. Martin a little while ago. Said, "How'd you sleep last night in the eve of the big game?" He just smiled. Yeah. "I slept fine." But he hasn't always been consistent in first half this year, Kirk. That could be important against a defense this good, not to fall behind against a team as good as Florida State. He'll also have more responsibility tonight than he's ever had as a quarterback.
Like anything in life, playing quarterback, especially in a national championship game, is all about confidence. You look at T. Martin's confidence, you go back to the opener against Syracuse, you look to tonight, it's night and day. Imagine trying to follow a legend like Peyton Manning. In your first career start on the road, it's only natural to have a little self-doubt. Now imagine leading your team to its first ever 12-0 record, and you're one of the reasons you become very confident in yourself. He is a dangerous, confident quarterback as he comes into this game.
When Tennessee is stopped, they're going to have to punt the football. And their sophomore punter, David Leviton, has been inconsistent. He's only averaging 38.9 per kick. And his coach, Philip Fulmer, said, and I quote, David's been kicking well in practice, but he always kicks well in practice. Yo, not real good. Watch the nose to go after David early and block a punt. Then the Tennessee team will block better and get less coverage, and then Peter Warrick goes. I think this is one area where Florida State can win the football game right here.
Well, Keith Cottrell, the Seminoles punter, has not been all that strong either.
No.
Both coverage teams have given up some long returns at times this year, but also are very capable of taking a return back in a tight, close game. Perhaps you're right, special teams will be very important. We'll talk about the Seminole quarterback, Marcus Outson, as that defense gets ready to target Team Martin tonight when we come back on the countdown to the championship game. Marcus Outson, the same high school as Danny Werfel. Imagine that, one high school producing 2 quarterbacks starting in a national championship game in the last 3 years. Outson is green. He's not a senior like most of the starting quarterbacks of national title teams in the 90s. He's certainly not a star. No one's ever been as close to this green in a game this big. But of all the quarterbacks in the spring, Marcus Outson had the best spring practice. Then he got hurt. Chris Winkie stepped in. He was the starter until the Virginia game. Winkie went down. Marcus Outson came back, and he got his chance. He'll make just his 3rd start tonight, and as Steve Cyphers reports, it must. He doesn't surprise you because he's almost too naive to know he's supposed to be nervous. He's not the deepest thinker in the world, not the best student of the game, but once the ball is kicked off, maybe the calm and the confidence is more